AZAM is back.
He is leading our state probably during one of the most challenging times any governor has faced, and Governor Doug-Ducey joining us live this morning. Governor, I appreciate you taking a few minutes out to talk with us. It's always good seeing you. I've been watching your social media. You seem to be pleased with the way the vaccine is rolling out here, especially out at State Farm Stadium. How do you think things are going getting that vaccine into people's arms?
Well, we were off to a good start. Of course, there were some bumps in the road. We've been working on the website. We've been working on expansion of the vaccination site. I want to say thank you to Michael Bidwell and the Arizona Cardinals organization. We have a 24/7 mass vaccination site out at Arizona Cardinals Stadium, State Farm Stadium. You can go on azhealth.gov if you fall into one of the categories, or if you're 65 years or older, we want to get you vaccinated. We're also on January 19th going to be expanding that 24/7 opportunity to the East Valley with Phoenix Municipal Stadium. You can register on the 19th, and vaccinations will begin on February 1st. We did 11,000 vaccinations in the last 48 hours. We're over 200,000 vaccinations total. Our big concern right now, Troy, is we could run out of vaccine. So we're talking with the administration, our partners back in the federal government, to get our next shipment, because now it's really humming. We've made the adjustments. A lot of love and gratitude to all the volunteers who are working so hard, the doctors and nurses and hospital staff, and of course Dr. Kara Christ and General Mick McGuire for organizing it.
How confident are you, Governor, that we're going to get enough vaccine? I mean, I've been hearing from people, and some saying that they had elderly family members in nursing homes that hadn't gotten the vaccine yet, and I'm sure it would be troubling for them to hear that we're getting close. I mean, are we close to running out, as far as you know, or you think you're confident more is on the way?
I'm confident that more is on the way. Now, elderly folks in nursing homes should be getting vaccinated. That was priority one. So if somebody's in a situation like that, I want them to reach out directly. What we're doing now is actually opening this up. Of course, we want folks like cops and teachers being vaccinated, but beginning next week, anyone 65 years and older can get in line out at State Farm Stadium and get the vaccine. But it is our most vulnerable, and that's why we are delineating by age. If we can get people 65, 75 with this vaccine, then expand it more to the general population, and we have these sites working, and then enough of the supply chain, Troy. What people should expect is we're not going to continue to build these mass sites, although we are going to build several. What we want to do when we have enough of the vaccine is get this to the pharmacies, get this to urgent care, get this to your doctor, and you'll make an appointment, you'll go in, get your vaccination, and then make a follow-up appointment so you have your boost.
Yeah, that makes sense in as many places as possible, for sure. All right, so you brought up teachers. Your State of the State caused a little bit of controversy, Governor, when you said you're hoping that once we get our teachers vaccinated and all of our educators vaccinated, that you want to see kids back in school. What is your timeline on getting kids back into some of these schools that are shut down right now or remote?
It's as soon as possible. And first, I want to say, for whatever misunderstanding there was, we lauded teachers in the state of the state. I think teachers and parents have done their resourceful best through this pandemic. And of course, we want our teachers safe and protected. That's why we, in the state of Arizona, elevated teachers in terms of their priority in getting the vaccination. But what we want to do is have kids safe back in school, and it's every public health expert, from Dr. Anthony Fauci and the CDC on down, says that the safest place for a child is inside a school. And my concern, Troy, because of this pandemic and distance learning, our kids have fallen behind. They have missed out on so much, and the achievement gap is great, not only in Arizona, but in this country, and it falls squarely down racial and income lines, and distance learning has not been good for those kids. Oftentimes, they don't have Wi-Fi or a laptop or a computer, so they are really missing out. So we've got to have a priority to get our teachers vaccinated and get our kids back inside the classroom.
So, I mean, you're saying as soon as possible. Are you talking about February maybe? Are you talking about March? I mean, you have to have at some point. I mean, because you're on top of
Troy,
all this stuff.
we've got hundreds of thousands. It's now. It's now. Troy, right now we've got hundreds of thousands of kids in Arizona inside a classroom right now. Let's take the protocols that those schools are using. Let's get the teachers prioritized in the line to get the vaccine, and let's get the kids back in school. We're still going to have distance learning for the families that demand that, and there are some teachers that have a condition where they need to be protected, and they can be the ones that teach the distance learning. But we can't have our schools in a perpetual state of closure. Let's get the kids in the classroom.
So are you in direct conversations, or somebody from your administration in direct conversations with some of these closed school districts urging them to do this? I mean, how does this go forward?
We're working with the school districts. We've got the protocols through the Arizona Department of Health Services. We've got the best practices of the schools that are up and operating. Parents need to put a little pressure on their local school board, or they need to vote with their feet and get their kid in a school that's open and operating. We had some lockdowns early in this COVID situation. We eased those lockdowns. Other states have gone back and kind of shut things down again. And you've made a point, I've heard you in the past, of saying, look at California. I know a lot of people are urging you, we should do more lockdowns, we should shut down. But if you look at some states that have done their lockdowns and states like us who haven't, are we in that different of a situation with COVID? Well, what I would say is we never had a lockdown in the state of Arizona. We had a stay home, stay healthy, stay connected before we knew what we know now. I mean, it was almost as if it was the fog of war, because we hadn't been through a pandemic and what was happening in February and March. We were in alignment with the administration in Washington, D.C. that was asking the whole nation to conduct 30 days to slow the spread. And we did that, Troy. We actually expanded that for an additional 2 weeks. We learned a lot. We've got our economy open and operating, but we do have mitigation measures in place, and they're targeted. They're in alignment with public health, and we're working with the coronavirus task force on this. There are a lot of calls out there, and they're loud, saying to please lock down, you need to lock down. And my point is that lockdowns don't work. If you look at states that do have these massive lockdowns, and this is not pointing fingers at anyone. I'm just saying that we're looking at what the evidence is so that we can do our best for our hospitals and our doctors and nurses. But if you look at a state like California that has sweeping lockdowns, or Rhode Island that has sweeping lockdowns, they're about in the same situation that in Arizona is right now. And in many ways, our measures have been targeted: 50% capacity for our restaurateurs, 25% for our gyms. People are wearing a mask, and bars are closed unless they've converted to being a restaurant. This is what the task force said could work. I want to thank our innovative entrepreneurs for how they've adjusted to this and how they're doing it and how supportive people are being. But we're going to do what works. If I thought there was more that I could do that would actually help people or keep them safer, we'd be doing that. But that's not what the guidance is. What the guidance is, Troy, is the fundamentals of wearing a mask and being physically distanced and washing your hands, just being personally responsible.
The stuff we've been doing from the beginning. I hate to do this, Governor, but let's turn to politics for the end of this if we can. Wild kind of a ride for you this year. You seemed to be very close to the president for a while. Then that kind of went the other way. And now you're going to Joe Biden's inauguration. Why do you think it's important for you to go to this inauguration?
Well, first, Troy, I was supportive of the president the entire time, all the way through November 3rd and Election Day. But I said that I would respect the results of the election, and I took an oath to the Constitution to uphold the law. And what I did is uphold the law after the vote was certified. That's my duty. I mean, my boss are the people of Arizona. That's who I report to. And I went to the inauguration 4 years ago. I was invited to this inauguration. It's an honor to be invited. It's an historic event. This will be my third president that I'll be working with as governor. It is time to move forward. There's things that I'm going to need to work with the Biden administration on, like Homeland Security, and making sure that not only do we have a trade relationship with Mexico that's growing, but that we have public safety on the border. So just like 4 years ago, I met with John Kelly, who was the nominee for Homeland Security. I'm hopeful to meet with President-elect Biden's Homeland Security nominee. There's other members of the cabinet that I'll want to visit with, because I want to be advocating the best possible policy for the state of Arizona with the incoming administration.
30 seconds left, Governor. If you had a message for a lot of the people out there who are saying they're not happy with the outcome of this election, they don't think it was correct, they don't want Joe Biden as their president, would you offer a message of healing? What message would you offer to the people who are still pretty upset with the way the election went?
Well, I understand people are upset because they didn't get the result that they wanted. I was in that category as well. I also think we have to look at the facts in terms of we had an election, the votes have been tabulated, they've been counted and certified. We're going to have a peaceful transition of power in this country. I want to be on the side of being productive and proactive for the folks in Arizona. But I think that people that are telling folks that somehow this election was stolen, they're misleading people. They're misleading people. We saw what happened at the Capitol last week. I condemn what happened. That violence and vandalism should never happen in the People's House, and we should resolve that it never happens again, and we move forward as a nation.
Yeah, and we can hope for peace this next week. Governor, thank you again. I know you're a busy man, taking time with us and talking with us.
Thank you, Troy.
And serving the people of our state, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.